Uh, Abstract brainwaves, game genie in the beanie. We ain't on the same stage, leveled up. The epitome of technique, can't survive in my current thought.
Other yellow hat guy here, back with another video. Let's talk JDF. Who is JDF? Jason David Frank. There's probably other people who go by that name, but that's who I'm talking about. So rather than make this a super sad video, just like I did in a couple other videos, I just want to remember the person, the talent, as far as I knew. I know other people might have different perceptions of this person and what have you. I'm only giving you my take. So if you're like in the comments, hey, so-and-so is a bad guy or did this, I'm sorry. It's got nothing to do with me. I'm only giving my side of it. And that's all I can do, right? Especially when the person's not able to defend themselves. It's one thing when you make videos like I do with the Sympathy For, and it's me, giving my opinion on a person or people or situation. And while there's judgment there, I'm not, condemning these people, right? They're clearly where they're at for their talent or for something, right? And most of the people that I talk about on those, they're still okay, I guess, right? But that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to get that out of the way before anybody misconstrues what I'm saying here in this video. Now, I grew up watching Ninja Turtles. Yes, I'm super old. When I say grew up watching them, I mean the original 1987 Ninja Turtles, right? And that predates Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Power Rangers, there was nothing like it. It was live action. You had martial arts. You had these guys in these costumes. Suddenly they're able to get into these Voltron-like Megazord things. And, you had a female villain who looked like, the Wicked Witch of the West. Finally, I'm free. It was just, you had a talking head. Just none of it made sense. Even the Green Ranger, these guys got helmets on. They can't move their mouths, but they can blow whistles and summon things. They can't... I'm not even going to get into how absurd the show was, but it worked. And a lot of why it worked here in the U.S. is because they took the aesthetic of Saved by the Bell kind of, preppy pop, high school kind of background. And they intersect that with the actual action from the Super Sentai shows that they aped it from, right? A lot of us thought, hey, Billy and Zach and all these guys can do martial arts. I'm not saying they didn't learn or they can't now, but back then, no siree, Bob. It's not them in the costumes. They put on those same costumes or similar ones, but it ain't them doing the stunts, kids. So sorry if I told you the Tooth Fairy isn't real by sharing that information, but that's actually what's going on there. So I'm speaking on Power Rangers mainly because I really didn't care for Power Rangers that much. It just seemed like just another show that was there, and Ninja Turtles was my jam. I would look at the theme song, how it gets you hyped, because they say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles over and over again. You're like, how does that get you hyped? When Go Go Power Rangers is kind of basic in that same regard. I guess for me, I could see myself as a Ninja Turtle and not one of these Power Rangers. I think that's what it was for me as a kid. But eventually it grew on me, and a big part of it growing on me was you had this mysterious Green Ranger who was like the evil doppelganger, and like, who is that? And then you find out it's actually JDF, and he's got a backstory. And he was only meant to be there for a little bit, but he clearly was the most athletic and had the most charisma of all the Power Rangers. And they brought him back as the White Ranger, who was able to save them, bail them out. He just had everything. He had the coolest vehicle, the coolest costume. I mean, he even had the vest and everything that those guys didn't have. He had a cooler weapon. I mean, he was just the coolest one of all of them. And as short of a series as that original one was, he kept coming back and he kept that series interesting for me. Okay? So even when the other ones had moved on, he was still in the mix because the fans love this guy. So much so that, when you look at Hollywood and fame and how a lot of it, the trajectory is short-lived for a lot of those guys, a lot of those entertainers, you end up going to these Comic-Cons and you see these guys there and they're able to eat off of that. Now granted, he was doing MMA and stuff like that. He was doing other things. He's always going to be well known for Tommy the Green Ranger and the White Ranger. So, Jason didn't shy from that. He embellished it. He was a symbol of hope for a lot of people, and I think that's what resonated for a lot of his fans, myself included, while I'm making this video. I've had opportunities to meet him through these conventions numerous times. I'll never forget when I met Charles Martinet and got to work with him, that right before I had the opportunity to get confirmed with Martinet, the talent agent who was over us volunteers at GalaxyCon Raleigh, she said, "I need somebody for Jason David Frank." She looked at me and I wanted to do it, but there was two things. Number one, Martinet was there. I was there for Mario. I had the Mario hat on, but hey, that's another story for another time. But I will go back to Martinet slightly in a second. JDF was there, and he was just at a convention where somebody threatened to end him. Yeah, some guy, for whatever reason, didn't like him. They wanted me to be part of his, oversee group. Really? Thank goodness that lunatic dude did not show up, or anybody else crazy. Didn't need that. But his point was that these things need to be safer because you have people cosplaying and doing different things, and you just don't know. You got to protect the talent. Unfortunately, our team did a great job, and the team there at GalaxyCon Raleigh continues to do a stand-up job when it comes to looking out for the talent that show up. I say that to say, while I chose Martinet, when Martinet was wrapping up everything, guess who showed up? JDF. He showed up, and he did the Morphin Time thing and everything, and it was just like, wow, that's pretty cool of him to come up and say hi and everything. You got to remember, these guys are human. A lot of times they show up and they're fans of some of the talent that's there too. So it's like, you can imagine being JDF and you grew up playing Mario and the voice is there, right? C'est la vie. So unfortunately, I have to share this. If you saw my Pokemon Scarlet video, you kind of already know. Early, a couple days ago, it was revealed that Jason was no longer with us. And I can't get too much into it because of the YouTube algorithm, but he chose to make that decision for himself. We'll just use that phrasing for what happened. But it's like, why? And it's really tough. I can only guess one reason why, but that's the only one that makes sense. Everything else is kind of just speculating on the price of fame. But we don't actually know that it was because of fame. But honestly, you have people who just have so much more or so much less to lose that would not take their actions into their own hands. They would not do that. It's weird how life works out that way. When you're a symbol to a lot of people, there's a lot of pressure to do the right thing. Even with this yellow hat on, even though I'm not some big star yet or anything like that, right? Operative word being yet, with your help, right? Seriously. You don't want to let people down. Okay? And he was going through a divorce. So maybe he got tired of a couple things. You could speculate, hey, he got tired of the Green Ranger stuff, or you just don't know what people are going through. But we do know that he was going through a divorce. His now ex-wife has, said some things that accused him of some things that, obviously didn't sit well with him. And that could be one of the catalysts for what happened. But I say allegedly because I don't know the true reason. I'm not close friends with him. Again, met the guy several times. I'll never forget the first story I told you, and then secondly, getting to meet him at a comic shop close to my area. A few days after I'd met him again another time, and he forgot me already. You can't be mad. These guys see thousands of people, a day. So, to remember little old me, it's not like I did security or help protect you, but I thought that was funny. I waited in line for maybe 3 hours before he even showed up, so that I was the first person in line at this comic shop because I have a buddy out in Ireland, and I wanted to make sure that we could maybe get him to just say hi to him, like a video, hello, for his podcast. Unfortunately, JDF declined because it's like, hey, if I do it for you, I get to do it for everybody. There's Cameo, yada yada. Looking back, I could have just done Cameo, but I also wanted him to sign some things, and really wasn't for me. I'd seen JDF numerous times. I got the picture of me and him doing the morphin' time, and it's sad that we won't get one more time to, morphin' time. It really is. I feel like, honestly, whatever it was, he could have got through it, but some people just choose not to. They've had enough. They just... You reach a pinnacle of success and opportunity, and anything less than that kind of just feels like you're already done, How many times you play a video game, you do well at it, and you just get bored of it. You're like, hey, I'm done. Let's just turn this off. I'm not going to reach the high score, or this. I feel like I've already beat the game. I've played it enough. And maybe that's how it is for some of these guys. The rest of us are kind of still building stepping stones and still have goals and smaller things that we're trying to achieve to get to the big things that they achieved in their 20s and 30s. Big things that, they aren't looking at anymore, right? Some of us are looking for our first home, put a kid through school, all that. Hey, you were the Green and White Ranger. You might have made enough money or have enough opportunities to where those things aren't stuff that you're really given most of your life to do anymore, right? So those are my thoughts. I'll always remember JDF in a good light. Just, again, as the Power Ranger, I can't really speak on anything else that he's done that I'm familiar with, really. But that was what it was for the people who needed that. Some people really needed that. They needed to see a guy who, started off, and this is just as a character, not him as a person, but he had the look. He had the long hair, and he was so 90s with it. Where it's like, hey, he's the protagonist, and he was able to turn that around. He was able to turn that around in this, it was kind of like that, the whole anti-hero thing. It was very popular back then, and he will be missed. He will be missed. So let me know your thoughts. You got any positive memories of the guy? Leave them in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on this video. I've been rambling much longer than I anticipated that I would, talking about my guy here who isn't with us anymore. Condolences to the family, and remember, if you guys need to reach out, there are hotlines, there are people, some of y'all reach out to me, believe it or not, on my streams, that you're in a similar predicament, and you thank me just for being around to entertain you. So I understand. I do understand. But just stay the course, stay positive, stay around people who keep you focused on better days. Okay? That's what I want y'all to do. Especially, November is a tough month, a lot of loss around this time for a lot of people. And it's no different than any other month, other than it's magnified with the holiday Thanksgiving, which is about being around family. So keep that in mind this holiday season as we go from one holiday to the next here in the States and other parts of the world. Love you guys. Don't forget to sub. I would appreciate that. Hopefully I'm pointing in the right direction. Continue to do that. help the channel, help the with the YouTube algorithm. More Mario Maker and other video games on the way. Other Yellow Hat guys out. Captain Sensation.